Go, John.
Especially snowing pretty heavy.
Welcome to the Couch Co-op Podcast, where gaming history meets modern-day excitement. Today, we're taking a trip down memory lane with this day in gaming history. Then, join Dr.Demo as we delve into the T1 hyper-intense lesions of game demos and Buy, Try, Die. Next up, we'll explore the nostalgia of the past with our top 3 big box PC games from the 1990s to the 2000s. Then it's time to gather your co-op buddies for the ultimate co-optional picks and couch co-optionals. Lastly, put your gaming knowledge to the test with a round of trivia and see if you can emerge victorious. Thanks for joining us on this gaming journey. Let's dive into the past, embrace the present, and anticipate the future of gaming together. The Couch Co-op Podcast starts now.
Woo!
Woo! Never get opening.
Couch Co-op is full of douchebags.
My black hole legions are ready.
Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op.
Hello, Couch Co-opers, Couch Potatoes, and Couch Codependents. This is the Couch Co-op Show, the podcast that knows the difference between 3 dicks and a joke. I'm Ian. I have Jared, Dave, and JPK with me tonight. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing good.
Good.
No
Which
one's
one?
How about
Which
you,
one of
Ian?
us is the joke?
no one's gonna reply like, "What is the difference between 3 dicks and a joke?"
Go on. What is the difference between 3 dicks and a joke?
Well, Dave can't take a joke.
Oh,
Wow, you overestimate my skills, my man.
Anyway, how's everybody doing tonight? Everybody having a good time? Super Bowl Sunday?
super what?
Oh, yep. Super Bowl.
Sports ball
Yeah.
stuff? Yeah. Okay.
You guys didn't watch the sports ball? You guys didn't watch Usher's super awesome halftime show?
I
It was a
didn't.
good halftime show.
It was
I
not.
thought it was really dull.
It was the most boring C
I liked it better
tier.
than last year's.
What? No way.
yeah.
The West
Yeah.
Coast rapping was way better.
No, it was Rihanna last year.
Was it Rihanna? I thought the hip hop was last
And then
year.
the year before, it was Dr. Dre. That was awesome. With Snoop Dogg, that was awesome.
Oh, Rihanna was last year?
I think Rihanna
Shit.
was last
Oh,
year.
that was not
Yeah.
good either then. God,
See?
time flies.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, it's just been downhill. Like, let's get a rock and roll act in there. Let's get Foo Fighters.
Red Hot Chili
or-
Peppers.
No. But let's have Foo Fighters play with have Led Zeppelin come out on stage and I don't
Mix
know.
it up a bit.
It's just like holy shit. Usher was just fucking awful. It
He
was
just had to
boring.
skip down the block from where he's performing at.
It's boring as fuck. Anyway.
See what you're really thinking.
I
was
feel
boring as
so
fuck.
bad that I missed the Super Bowl this year.
It was a good Super Bowl, actually.
It was a good game, yeah.
Yeah, they
was
were
good. The
they
game
were
was good.
neck and neck, and Taylor Swift
I watched it last year.
she just won.
It was a fun game.
The Purdy mouths just couldn't pull it off.
Jim had to record a podcast tonight, otherwise I'd have played the drinking game where you drink every time you see Taylor Swift.
You did that anyway.
Oh,
you
fuck.
did that anyway.
That'd be a good game. Take a shot every time.
I was curious what
Funny.
the over under on Vegas, how many times they showed her. If there was a bet in Vegas on the books,
I
like
bet
how
there
many
was.
times I'm sure there was too. I'm just curious what that was and who won that. That would be interesting. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Super Bowls and Taylor Swift. We're here to talk about video games. And we're going to kick it off with This Gay and Daming. With Clarkage and Jared. Or what?
Yeah.
Anyway, Jared,
Something like that.
how does it go?
But yeah, I got a few games that came out this week.
You know, it doesn't
Today's
have to always
February.
be games. It could be birthdays of developers or
Yeah, I mean, I
could
guess
switch
I
it
could
up a
look
little
up that
bit,
kind of
like
stuff,
some
but
more
there's games that I like. I like
Sure.
mostly games.
All right.
Every once in a while, I might bring in like a console launch or something like that, but
Console
you
launch
won't
is
hear that
good.
in February. Yeah, I don't know of any console that came out like not in the fall. But February 11th, there's a few that I wanted to point out. Dragon Quest IV came out in Japan in 1990, 34 years ago. Crazy. Xenogears was one of my favorite PlayStation RPGs that came out 26 years ago in 98. Final Fantasy VIII came out the year after, 25 years ago. But the real big one actually comes out on February 12th of 1990. That's Super Mario Brothers 3. Can't believe that Super Mario Brothers 3 is 34 years old.
Man,
Christ.
That's stupid. I played so much of that. Actually, most of those games I played lots of. But yeah, that's the games that came out a long ass time ago when I was a child, old enough to play these and beat those games. And every time I do this, I feel a little bit older.
I feel like back in it's like this time of year. Back in the day, they would release games when they were ready, which was whenever they were done, you know. Whereas
Yeah.
there's like the 90s, 2000s, and up till today, it's kind of a quiet period this time of the year because everything tries to get released before Christmas.
So I learned a funny fact about Dragon Quest IV in Japan. It was released on a Sunday because Dragon Quest III and other games that came out were always during weekdays, but they impacted business and work so much that Japan
Oh, people
forbade
calling it
games from
sick.
coming out on weekdays back in that era. So Dragon Quest IV actually came out on a Sunday because of that.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So that's pretty interesting.
Cool. All right. Well, there we go. Moving on to Dr.Demo by Try Die. Doc, what are you operating on this evening?
I downloaded the Commandos 3 HD remaster. I don't know if any of you have ever played any of the Commandos games. I think they
Kinda
came
remember
out in
Commandos.
Is it a
late.
strategy game? Or
Yeah, it's kind of real-time strategy action kind of game. And I remember playing, I think, Commandos 1 or Commandos 2 on the PC in the early 2000s, and I remember it being a really difficult game and quite complicated. It's quite involved. So, bless you. So I was like, oh, I'm kind of familiar with this. So I downloaded the Commandos 3 HD remaster. And so basically it's the tutorial level and then the first mission. I didn't actually play the whole thing through. I did the tutorial bit and it was kind of cool. And then I went on to the first mission and you were the sniper. And for some reason, the other guy would just like walk and get shot by the Germans. And unless you were pointing in the right direction, you couldn't snipe. Like it would let you put the sniper scope bit over some guys, but wouldn't let you put it over other guys. And it's like, so I tried that a few times, and then I got like bored, and I was just like, I can't be arsed with this. So I gave up on it. But if you like that kind of game, they are notorious for being really difficult games. And I thought it was interesting. It's interesting. The first time you load up the game, it says, "Do you want historical flags and uniforms, or do you not?" So you can have the Nazis actually dressed in full Nazi. They're dressed in like as Nazis essentially. With the flag and all the rest of it on their armband, or you can, if you're sensitive and to that kind of stuff, you can have it switched off.
Hmm.
And apparently that was a big deal. They remastered Commandos 2, and they didn't give you that option. They just kind of nerfed it so that basically, there were no offensive badges or flags shown in the game. So it was.
But was it good?
Not really. No, it was really difficult. There seemed like there was a lot going on. I could kind of see why some people would like that kind of game. It's just not for me, really.
Is this supposed to be a simulator type of thing?
It's like isometric 3D, except you can rotate the camera around the isometric so you can see around walls and stuff.
But why is it so difficult? Is it just, do you feel like it's cheap, kind of difficult?
It is a little cheap, but there's also a lot of like options as to how you complete the missions, and it's not very especially for an intro level, it's not very clear what you should be doing. And and I just couldn't figure out why the sniper, my guy was stood as a sniper covering the other guy, and I'm like, I don't want the other guy to go walking. I just want him to stay there, and I'll have my sniper snipe the guys, and then he can bugger off. But it was just
okay. Yeah. I'm watching a gameplay video. It's kind of funny watching all these dudes like crawling across the battlefield together.
Yeah. It's
all right.
I mean, it's a very pretty game.
Yeah. All the explosions are pretty cool looking. Yeah.
Who's it by? Who developed it or who published it?
I'm trying to remember. I've got it up here, but it doesn't say who it's by. Raylight Games, Pyro Studios. That rings a bell. Calypso Media, and I think they're out of Germany somewhere. But it's a series that's been going for a long while because, like I say, I remember playing Commandos 1 or Commandos 2 on the PC back in the day, and I just remember it being a very tricky, difficult game. It's like one of those pixel perfect kind of games, where you have to do things in the right order at the right time, and it can be quite frustrating. It's very satisfying when you do it, but...
So is this a try or just a straight up die?
For me, it's a die. I didn't even finish the demo. I think that pretty much puts it in the die bucket for me if I can't even do the tutorial in the first level mission,
Would you preface it for anyone else? Like, try this if, or it's like, it's just not that good?
I would say try it if you like really difficult, like real-time strategy type games and the Second World War games.
But other than that, it's a die. Don't bother.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Very
if you're
niche.
interested, download the demo and play it. It's a decent demo. It gives you a pretty good flavor of what the game is and what I remember the previous ones were like. Not very much has changed.
There you go.
Cool.
Dr.Demo! Demolish that fucking game. All right. We're going to move on to our main topic of the evening. And I had mentioned it a few episodes back during our 4th gen console, that I thought it would be cool to do a big box PC top 3 list. And so here we are. Our favorite top 3 big box PC games. Big box because back in the day you would buy this tiny little CD, but it would be in this giant cardboard box. Or it could be
CD,
discs.
man. I was going to say
could be
a couple
discs
on my list.
Could be discs. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean that was cutting edge back in like the mid '90s when games started coming on.
Beginning
discs
of '90s, it would have been
including
discs.
audio.
Toward like '95, '96, they started being CDs. Yes. All right, fine.
Yep.
Okay. Relax, guys.
They were still in big boxes
They were still in big boxes
for a little while.
But basically any game on a personal computer. So yeah, I thought this would be fun. Kind of my list is probably so out there and different. This is cool because it's not going to be a Mario or it's not going to be a Ninja Turtles. It's going to be a very different select group of games, I think. Ultimately, I think most of us, but I think it should be fun. I think it's interesting, and we haven't really ever focused. We haven't ever done a focus on this kind of area of video gameplay, really. So
Very rusty.
Yeah. So, but I think we've all kind of fucked around in this pool. Some more than others, but I think it should be fun. So, yeah. And obviously Jared, because he's right here in my top, gets to go first.
It just happens to be my tag
Your lot,
is
your lot in
the
life.
first letter in your alphabetical
Your
list.
lot in life.
Yeah.
Number 3.
One I would like to see a new version of come out, not just a remaster, but Warcraft, Orcs and Humans. That's the first Warcraft game before they gave up on Warcraft and just did World of Warcraft. That came out. It was only 4 floppy disks. It was a small game, but nothing really special came with the box back when you got it. It was just like the instruction manual and maybe some information about online. And it was, those big boxes were funny when you got like just 4 discs and like a small manual. It's like nothing in it. It's all just air. You shake it around after you open it, all you hear is the disc go clunk, 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 clunk. But yeah, I loved Warcraft. The original real-time strategy ones, I really like those. And that's like the only versions of RTS games that I really got into was the Warcraft games. I loved 1 and 2, but I couldn't get into like StarCraft and Command and Conquer or any of those other ones. I just kind of lost it after those games.
Cool. All right. Dave, what is your number 3?
So my PC history, it kind of dies out in about 2005, 2006.
Just about just about the time when
Same here.
big box PC died.
Yeah. It's also partly because at that point I didn't have the money to get a new PC, and I had a PlayStation 2, so I kind of moved to the consoles. And so like one of the themes I see just in general is like the kind of games I got on the PC, there's no like platformers or that kind of stuff. It's the games that really strike me for the PC are like real-time strategy, adventure, and flight simulators actually. But my number 3 is a little game called Total Annihilation that came out in 1997, and for me that's kind of the best of the Command and Conquer-esque resource and fighting type games. I played a lot of it in college because I remember we all bought network cards and linked up our PCs, and we would play it. It would take like 3 or 4 hours for a game unless you finished it really. Sometimes there were 2 strategies. One was to build up your army until you had this massive army and just grind your opponents down. The other one was just go in hard and fast, like when you start with everything you've got, and if you could just break through and just do enough damage, you could sometimes win the game. The trouble was, if there was more than 2 players playing it, that strategy didn't work, because the third player who didn't go in or didn't get involved would just come down and wipe the 2 of you out because you kind of wear each other out. But I remember playing that for hours on hours and having games that came to a draw as well, because you would have like cannons that would shoot over the map. But the one thing I really liked about that game was you had a commander unit, and he was kind of overpowered if you sent him into battle, but if you lost him, you lost the game. And so, but you could also use him to kind of soup up how quickly you could build things. So if you sent him to a particular factory, it would like increase the output of that factory, or you could increase the resource like extraction by using him to. So it was like your commander was like an all-in-one unit, could do everything, build stuff, extract stuff, fight. But you had to be careful with him because obviously that was the game. So, and then there were like 2 or 3 add-ons for it as well. But I remember having that on CD. That was a CD-ROM. Playing the ever-living shit out of it for a year or 2. I mean, the story game was good, but the I just remember playing multiplayer for hours on end.
Sounds very involved. Yeah. A lot of those online ones, you couldn't save your progress, right? You just you were battling and
No,
you had
most
to
of
finish
the
game,
online
right?
was just you against somebody. So
this
never-
wasn't
Yeah.
online. This was like a local area network. We didn't have the
Yeah.
internet, and so we'd like there were 3 or 4 of us who we'd take turns like cooking. So we one of us would cook. We'd all eat, and then we'd go. 6:30, 7 o'clock. We'd all go to our dorms and just we had like cable running out the window between the
Oh, hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
I mean, we
Good old
networked it
LAN
ourselves
party.
'cause- yeah, so it was like LAN party without having to go anywhere.
Fun.
And so yeah, we'd all fire it up, all get on the same server, and then like as people got knocked out, you'd go and sit in the room and watch what other people were doing.
It seemed like such a miles away from the consoles, in my opinion. Though, when you were playing PC games,
Yes.
it seemed like,
It was a level of depth that just didn't exist.
and then the fact that you could engage with online, like, I don't know. I just felt like, holy shit, this is. Why would anyone play a fucking Nintendo or a Sega or It just seemed like.
Yeah, because online for consoles didn't really come till the Dreamcast.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first time I went online really was the PlayStation 4 to any regular degree. I mean, I had an Xbox 360, but I didn't really connect it.
Oh, I was playing online. Rise of
Yeah.
the Triad, Doom.
Actually, yeah, I did play a couple of PC games on. I remember playing Star Trek First Contact online, Counter Strike.
Holy shit!
Oh,
Guess
Aaron.
who's
Oh,
laid
there
again?
Shut it.
he is.
Do you have your top 3 PC big box games list?
Big box list. I do, sort of. I haven't really played
pretty
a
much PC games that came out in the early 90s or mid 90s.
Or 2000.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, even
Okay,
as early
yeah.
as 2000, well, late
I
as
got you.
2005-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay. Well, Dave just went, so I guess we move over to Aaron, right? Is that?
To be fair, it's 9:30, guys. It's not like it's on 10
Yeah.
o'clock or anything, so chill.
what? I mean,
Anyway.
you're only a half hour late. It's cool.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, that whole parenting thing, I mean, anyway.
Yeah, but
my number-
you have 2 parents, so you only need one of them to put the baby to bed. All right, what's your number 3, Aaron?
Anyway, let's see. My number 3 would have to be, I would say, not Quake. Sorry. The tournament game they played, Unreal Tournament. That's definitely one of my favorites because even though I'm not much of a computer game player, that was one of my favorite multiplayer games on with you guys or anything. That's actually I got introduced to the couch co-op, the game night thing with you guys, and then this whole thing happened. So
We did play.
You
a lot
guys
of
played
Unreal
Quake?
Tournament. We
Not
played
Quake,
Unreal Tournament.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
okay.
played
Yeah,
a
but-
version. Which
Which-
version? I don't remember when.
Was
when
it
we-
2000?
Probably
Or
2000.
Yeah,
2002?
well, I think it was 2000.
Yeah,
or
Unreal
whatever.
2000 or whatever. Yeah, Unreal Tournament 2000. Something like that.
Yeah, I came over early on in mid 2000s, and I didn't really play a PC game since then. But I played a bit of computer games before that, and I had a huge break of PC gaming because I found other consoles and stuff like that, and then we started playing PC games again. Well, the last game we played, that was the first game we played was PC. After that, we just kind of went to console gaming, but that was probably one of my favorite games because they've got me back into appreciating PC games just because I always thought PC gaming was a little not master racy and the people who thought of it are holier than thou compared to console gamers, but I respect the PC power when it comes to gaming. That's what made me respect it again because I've heard so many issues, not issues, but like so much updating and upgrading you have to do to a computer to play half the games out there. But now it's so much cheaper to buy parts for it now. Same. Like I remember some of the games like Crisis, that game that I remember it got so much static for the beastly card, beastly graphics, and beastly sound card they had to have just to run the game. Now it's like those are just
Now you can buy it for $9 and it'll run perfectly on your PS4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think
I know.
PC
It's
gaming
funny,
has
isn't it?
changed a lot. It's like the optimization is way, way better. So like a low-end computer like mine can run a lot of the games
Gosh,
Well,
I
it's like
now.
remember you buy a game and it wouldn't work with your sound card. And you'd
Yeah.
have to make a
Oh,
boot
yeah.
disk to get that first 640k. You'd want as much as you could get and have the game still run. So you'd have to load in the sound card driver, load in the CD-ROM driver, perhaps a mouse driver,
Or
and
just make your Sound Blaster run on like shit settings because like the game is just not optimized for it.
sometimes you would just have to choose between graphics or sound,
yes.
like because the
and
PC
now
wasn't powerful enough to do both at the same time.
So wild.
and now it's just like you literally can get any high-end game for the average computer that is now powerful enough to run that sort of thing. But anyway, my reason why for Unreal Tournament is just it makes me appreciate computer games all over again because of that type of gaming alone. And it's like you don't have to be a computer person who builds their own computer constantly just have the latest and greatest. You can literally take any decent computer and it actually looks really good. And that's what got me into it. So yeah.
Cool. John, what's your number 3?
Star Wars Rebel Assault 2: The Hidden Empire.
Good choice. I was thinking about that one, and I put that in. I remember the Rebel Assault games. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was a sequel, obviously. So the first one was done with in-game engine, and then this was a live-action game. So it's pretty much a rail shooter. So they had different segments. You had some piloting segments, and then you'd be in your cockpit shooting enemy fighters, or you'd be on the ground with your blaster shooting stormtroopers. And it takes place in an alternate. The first game, it was pre-rendered, I believe, and then the second game had a mix of pre-rendered and live action. And then it takes place in an alternate Star Wars universe, so you pretty much play Rookie 1, but you're not Luke Skywalker. You're a different Rookie 1. So in the second game, you get to pilot the Millennium Falcon, but it's not the Millennium Falcon. It's a Corellian freighter ship, but it's the Millennium Falcon you're piloting.
Nice choice.
Cool.
I remember this was a big reason why I bought a CD-ROM back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember Rebel Assault 2, just seeing it and being like, "Oh, wow, this is amazing."
Yeah, and you can just go watch the cutscenes. I mean, if you want to see some cheesy video game acting from the '90s,
and it wasn't. I remember it wasn't that great a game. Like I played it again like 10 years later or whatever, and graphically it was a lovely looking game, but it was really like one of those. It's like reminded me of Microcosm. I don't know if you ever remember that, but it was a game where it's like pre-rendered and flying the ship. You were basically just
okay.
You know, there were some bits like that I remember.
Cool.
But yeah, it was a cool game.
All right, everybody, buckle in for a long Ian story. Yeah. Get a beer, get some popcorn, take your headphones off, go to the bathroom. So in 95 we got our 486 PC.
The 486.
And the next year, for some reason, I think it was a birthday. I think it was Shane's birthday. He got missed for his birthday. That game is fucking trash. People love it. It's a trash fucking game.
Cool.
Trash
puzzles.
fucking game. But for Christmas, Santa,
Yes.
so this game drops in 97, so it's a couple years later. Shane and I both get Riven, and this game is multiple CDs. It's way different. It's not like click. It's more kind of I don't know. It runs a bit better than Myst. It's a lot more interesting than Myst. And Riven, he and I go off. My brother and I go off on this journey together to complete this game. And Shane spends a lot of time on it. then we started this little notebook with notes, and
Nice.
he started off on it, then I would do some and write notes, and then he'd go off and do it. And then there'd be days where we play together. And this is probably one of the most rewarding co-op experiences in a single-player game I've ever had. Ultimately, I will say yes, we did beat the game.
Nice.
But there's there's some moments where we're running around and we're like, what the fuck? I don't get this. What is this? This is so fucking stupid. And then we're like frustrated and then I see something out of the corner of my eye. I remember this vividly, playing this with him. Like, no, go back. And then just turn around and look at the area. Just look at it. And then I was like, do you see the outline of the area? That is the clue to this area. And he's just like, holy fuck. There's just like a lot of moments like that in this game. And I think that's ultimately what Myst was. But Myst was just such a janky bullshit, like Nintendo style bullshit.
Screen by screen by
like
screen.
just garbage designed by like Nintendo of America, like shitty like Zelda or Mario game. Riven was a step up, into like the, we'll say Halo, just for the lack of a better.
Kind of the sequel? Isn't Riven like kind of like Myst
Riven
2?
is the sequel.
The subtitle to Riven is the sequel to Myst.
I'm just trying to talk a lot I That's what
what I thought.
I'm just talking a lot of shit right now.
Yeah, I never got to play that because I didn't have a
But Riven is a
CD-ROM
great
forever.
game. But I don't know if it's a great game. I don't think it's very highly loved, ultimately. But my memory of it and playing it with my brother and ultimately solving it, very rewarding because it's a puzzle game. It's a puzzle game that Jared would love. I think it's a puzzle game. Yeah. So Riven, released 1997. Super cool. Sequel to Myst. It's my number 3. Jared, number 2.
Well, you're dissing on these click-by-click screen games. The one that I spent the most time with was Return to Zork. That game came out in 93 on 12 floppy disks in the box. It had what I remember being one of the first copyright things that games started doing was coming with a very specific book. And the game would ask you questions that you could only get the answers from this book. And that was their form of copyright. And that was called the Encyclopedia Frobisica. And the box came with a sweepstakes letter explaining why you were in this Zork area. So it came with a few things in the box just for fun. But
this game looks jank as hell.
But back then, man,
Well.
the graphics were awesome. Like those single
Jared
screen
likes
games,
janky games, guys.
Those single screen
At least
games,
it's not a
that
walking
was
simulator.
top of the line stuff for the era. Like the
It's
graphics were
pretty close
super
to a
good on
walking
each screen.
simulator.
And there was a lot of things to do. Oh yeah, it looks like ass. It didn't look that good back then. Yeah. I mean, especially with the screen I had, this computer I had, it was probably rendered even lower than the picture you showed.
You felt
on
like you were
camera.
playing the game like this?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but it had like voice and stuff like that. I mean, the floppy disks for some reason I'm pretty sure I had the floppy disk reason. There was voices in the game, and that was kind of new to me at that era because games didn't have like a lot of dialogue and things like that in it. So it was a cool thing. I never played the original Zork, so like coming back and playing the sequel, the original one was all text based. So this was like their foray into actual visual graphics. But yeah, I had good memories with that one. I never did finish it because, the games back then didn't give a shit if people finished them or not. Yeah, they were very different type of game design.
Just real quick, this is on the Wikipedia. Return to Zork was a key part of Activision's attempt to revive the company, overseen by new president Bobby Kotick.
Oh man, that's just funny.
Man.
Okay. Activision.
Zork.
Return to Zork.
Zork. All right, Dave.
Yeah, I don't know how many games they did in the Zork series. Like
Dave,
Zork
could you step up your choice? Because is your number 2 just a little bit better than Zork?
Yes, it is. So this is a game that came on 4 discs, and I remember another mind-blowing thing about the PC back in the day was analog joysticks. And I remember getting one to play this game, and it's Star Wars TIE Fighter. X-Wing
That was a
was
good
good,
one.
which was the first one, but TIE Fighter was great. It came on like 4 discs or something, and your aim was to crush the Rebel Alliance, which is what made it cool. It was like you got to fly all the different TIE Fighters, and you'd go on missions, and I just remember spending hours and hours playing it, and I just loved the analog flight stick. It had I had one, it wasn't a very expensive one because I didn't have a lot of money, but it had the analog bit, and then it had this like little throttle on the side that you could turn back and forth for how fast you wanted to go. And I just remember spending hours just like crushing the Rebel Alliance, and it's so good.
So it's fun. Fun crushing
Yeah, nice.
spirits.
I think Night Dive did a remake of TIE Fighter.
I think there was X-Wing versus TIE Fighter was the next one in the series, and I tried that, and I wanted to like it, and it wasn't bad. It just never grabbed me in the same way. And same with X-Wing. It's like I played X-Wing, and that was good. But for some
But I
reason,
think TIE Fighter has been remastered. If you're looking to get into it, it's been remastered by Night Dive.
Maybe I'll have a look, because I just have very fond memories of that game. I just remember there's like a nice animated intro to it when you first load it up, and there's a little bit of like speech every once in a while, and just it's just a nice looking game. But yeah, it came on disc. I remember that too. The internet says 4 discs, but for some reason I swear I remember it being so.
Awesome.
I remember my Coffin Gaines zapped to space dust multiple times.
Cool.
Yes, I remember that. Actually, now you speak of it.
Aaron, what is your number 2 PC big box game?
All right, my number 2 PC box game is something that is completely out field from everybody else's. Is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and I'll tell you that game, I enjoyed the fuck out of that game. You got racing game. You could either be the guy running away from the cops, or you could actually be one of the cops. You had the spike strips and stuff like that. That was, man, I never felt so like I never have had so much fun being a dirty cop in that game, because I always did get ahead of them and always deploy that spike strip and just devastate everybody I could that was right behind me. Didn't matter who it was. I was like, all right, spike strip. It was such a fun game. You had to even be they even had every variant of the car, they had a police variant of it. Like if you had a Lamborghini, you could be a police Lamborghini. If you had if you had a WRX, you could be a police WRX. It was such a fun game. I really enjoyed it so much. I never had such fun playing a racing game, especially where you could either be the racer guy, just the racer, you can just race people, or you could be the cop trying to stop the races from happening. And you had what?
No, I was just gonna say I 100% agree. I love this game as well. This though, if I remember correctly, this game is pretty fucking hard.
It was hard, but I just enjoyed driving. I just enjoyed just driving around, racing, and occasionally turning over to be one of the cops and just being able to deploy the spike strips when you needed it or whatever. It was just such a fun game. There was something satisfying when you caught up to someone that's way far ahead of you, and then getting ahead of them and dropping the spike strip and knocking them off the course. It was like some sort of catharsis to it.
Steam has the remastered edition for $4.49
Nice.
with a rating of 9 out of 10.
49.
Understandable. Totally
top
holds
tier
up. I can
game.
imagine. It was so much fun.
Probably
I
would
remember
probably runs on like fucking
Anything.
anything.
High.
Yeah, I wouldn't
anything,
doubt that.
Well,
Probably
yeah,
runs on your smartwatch.
probably. But no, it. I remember getting it. My brother actually got the game. I kind of took it from him in a sense, just And then I had this other game. I didn't play it as much, but it was such a. My brother played a little bit of it. I really got into the game. It was so much fun. I played so very much, and this is like in early 2000s when I got it. I would say 'cause we just moved into a Beaverton house from Cornelius, and it was just so much fun. It was like one of the best single racing games I ever played, and so much fun. That's all I got.
All right.
I loved it.
Cool. John, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine.
Ooh.
I never played that.
I've never played that one.
Not that I remember.
One of these
So
shitty,
you play
one of these
as,
shitty LucasArts games.
yeah,
All right,
another
tell
one.
us
I do
how
remember that
awesome.
game.
Tell us how great it is.
I do remember this game.
So
It
it's a
wasn't
sequel
terrible.
to the Fate of Atlantis. So
Yeah, I played
they
that.
kept the so Sophia Hapgood is still in it. They ported over, or they used the same voice actor who did Indiana Jones in Fate of Atlantis. He voices Indy, and this is LucasArts' response to Tomb Raider, and it's also one of their first 3D environment games.
It was on N64.
But Tomb
Yes,
Raider has
and
tits.
supposedly
Did-
the
did
N64
Indiana
version is
Jones have any
superior.
tits?
What?
I mean, Tomb Raider has tits. Did Indiana Jones grow tits?
No,
So
he
it
was
wasn't really. It
titless.
wasn't really an answer to the Tomb Raider then.
In terms of gameplay, they copied it. I mean, they weren't very. They weren't trying to hide that they were pretty much copying it.
You didn't play the Game Boy Color version.
No,
Do you think they have
I-
to answer for the fact that they need Uncharted now? Like, are they answering for Uncharted now too?
Yeah. Funny.
What do you mean?
Never mind. Just keep talking.
So you play as Indy, and the plot is kind of weird because it takes place during the Cold War. So essentially, you're in a race against the Russians to assemble the Tower of Babylon, which is a pathway to the Babylonian god Marduk. So you're going across the world to get 4 different types of magical tools that'll activate the Infernal Machine. And you can see just by me just talking about it, the plot is convoluted. So, but it is a janky.
Anything less.
It is a janky game. It is fun. It's kind of fun how janky it is. And it's more of a platformer. There is some like combat, but it's very mild. I mean, you're pretty much just like
Wait.
there's
I
just
have a
auto.
question. Wasn't the Indiana Jones from LucasArts before that more of like an adventure, like a point and click adventure?
Yeah, I
It
think
was
it was
point and
point
click.
and
I remember
Yeah.
that. That's why I played.
So they followed it up with this platforming game.
Well, it was their first foray, I think, into
Oh.
because they wanted to update because they knew the point and click was going away, so they wanted to update, and they didn't quite know how to do it. And then they saw Lara Croft came out, and then that was
Yeah.
pretty much their blueprint.
They were afraid by the titties.
3D was done basically.
They were like,
or
oh,
3D
shit.
was everything. Like 2D
Yeah.
games were like, no.
dying.
This porn star is gonna come take over our genre, and they were like, we gotta like man up.
Yeah, man ass.
That's true. It's
And no one likes man ass more than John.
True. I just that's what I stare at constantly.
not his fiance.
What else about anything else before we leave you, John? That you
I mean the game is much it's more for nostalgic. I mean now I'm sure if I played it, I did watch some gameplay footage of it. And it's kind of
would love to
fun.
see you play it again.
I think my dad still has the disc and everything back home.
Oh.
I think it was a double disc. But I just
it's
remember
nice fun.
the box it came in was this big white box, and it had the silhouette of Indy from Temple of Doom. And that was kind of the box art for the game.
That's cool. All right.
Yeah, that's neat.
Cool. All right. My number 2. I have 2. Here's the thing. I have 2 games I'm going to talk about, but I'm only really talking about one game. My brother purchased StarCraft, and Jared said he didn't like it. I really like StarCraft quite a bit, so I played a lot of StarCraft. But that was just the bridge into what is for me. Because like what? Let me find this here. StarCraft is 1998. That was a bridge into one of my favorite games of all time, which is Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun.
That was on my short list, I must admit.
1999. That game, so fucking fun. Holy shit. There's nothing more I like than like just creating my base and just like creating a shit ton of soldiers, like a mass, and then sending them out. And then when you have them attack and just the sound of all their machine guns just like killing things.
Is that the one with Michael Ironside in it as well?
Yes, Michael Ironside's in there. And
yes.
also, what's his name from Terminator?
Yeah, Kyle Reese, isn't it?
Yeah, Kyle Reese is in it too.
Yeah.
There's some other people in it. I think James Earl Jones is in it. If I'm wrong, am I wrong? I may not be. I may be wrong.
Me, but
He may have been in one of the. If he's not in that, he's definitely in one
Anyway.
of the Command & Conquers. But
I love this game more than I like StarCraft quite a bit, but there's a guttural feeling I get from playing Tiberian Sun and like them shooting and the sound and like just like the.
Yeah.
There's something about that game that I played that to no end. And I think I made that pretty clear. And here's the funny thing. So I made that pretty
Earl
clear.
Jones was in it.
Okay, that's what I thought. I have a love of this game. And I think at some point I made this clear to Jared. I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. To the fact that, well, Jared, when I moved in with Jared and my life was going to shit, Jared actually bought me for the PS3 Command and Conquer Red Alert. This is a funny story too, because he bought it and he put it in a fucking Jack in the Box taco bag and gave it to me. He gave it to me because we connected on the tacos, obviously, way back. But when I had first moved in, he's like, "Hey man, here," and like, I seriously have the game here somewhere. Can't find it right now because I'm stupid. Oh, it's right here. Oh shit. Yeah. So Jared. So this is Command and Conquer Red Alert, and Jared got me. He bought me this game. It was a gift from Jared.
I always enjoyed the Red Alert series, but Tiberian Sun is. Like,
But this game is also really crazy awesome, and I've played a lot of it. I never beat it, but
I like the attack bears.
yeah, there's attack bears on this too.
Yep.
But I spent so much time in Tiberian Sun. I don't know. There's something about it. I would restart. I'd play it, and even if I had gotten really far, I'd restart it because there's something about being low level and just creating a bunch of soldiers and then just the sound. I love the sound of all those little soldier guys just shooting one. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I played a lot of those games. When I came to America, I didn't have much money, but they had the Command and Conquer pack that had like the first one all the way up, and I just played them all back to back again.
I just wanted to make sure I got back to the fact that Jared, my bro, he got me this game, and
Got your
along
back.
with a
And
bag of dicks.
It's a memory, and
Aw.
it's a very fond memory. And I love you, Jared. Thank you.
Of course,
I love.
man.
This is a great game too.
Oh, so
Anyway.
sweet.
All right, Jared, you can go number one.
Number one for me. I don't know if I ever finished the game, but I loved playing through it. I know I did it multiple times, and eventually upgraded to the CD because it had voices. Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Fathers,
Nice.
came out in 1993 on 11 discs. And the
Jesus.
box came with a prequel graphic novel that I really liked reading through.
What?
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, it did. And yeah, actually, I was looking that up, and I ended up downloading it from the archive that the company has. You can like download the archive of the prequel graphic novel. So that's on my
Did you
phone
read
right
it?
now. No, I didn't have time. But it's on my phone, and I plan on it.
Get on it.
Yeah,
That's
I would
legit.
like to.
Here we
But
go.
yeah, because I played tons of the game. That like I enjoyed the atmospheric sounds and all that stuff that it had. And when I was playing it, I had to read everything. And then one of my other friends, after I upgraded to like a CD-ROM, he had a copy of the CD version, and I like, oh, can I borrow that? And every character was voice acted and all that stuff. I was like, what? That again, that was the era where like that just wasn't normal, and until everybody started getting CD-ROM drives, and
That
it
voice
was
cast
great.
is crazy too.
Oh,
if
I
you
don't
want-
I don't know who the voice cast was.
Gabriel Knight was Tim Curry doing
dang.
a
Oh, damn.
Louisiana twang,
Yeah, okay.
and then Detective Mosley was played by Mark Hamill.
Oh yeah, I know
Wow.
Mark Hamill was in it. That's
Who?
awesome.
Who's Mark Hamill? I don't know who that is.
He was in a lot of games, wasn't he?
Yeah,
back in the
he's
day?
Yeah.
lended
he's
his
still,
voice to
he's
a lot
still
of
in a
stuff,
lot of
yeah.
games.
He realized he had a face for voice acting.
Yeah, he does. Well, after the car accident, what is he gonna
Yeah.
do?
It's true.
Yeah, but that game was just cool. I know I made it a long ways away or into the game. I don't think I ever finished it, but I didn't even know they released 3 different Gabriel Knight games. I knew of the second one, The Beast Within, but there is a third
Yeah,
one as
then-
well.
The 3D one, which looks like crap.
Oh no, it went 3D.
Yeah, that's what the
That
third one
sucks.
is.
Okay, lame. It's like when
Like, not
Flashback did
great.
a 3D game.
It's like low budget. This is our first 3D game, kind of 3D.
No. I gotta look this up. All right, lame. Yeah, but yeah, Gabriel Knight. It's a series I've always been fond of. At least that first game, anyways. I never played any of the other
I think
sequels,
they
but
may have remastered the first game too. I think you can even play it on your phone. I think I've downloaded before. On
yeah,
my phone.
yeah, it came out 10 years ago. You can get it on Android. Gabriel Knight. I'm gonna watch the Gabriel Knight 3 trailers. It just sounds awful. That the era where everything was going 3D is
It's a weird
usually
one.
just not okay.
It's a weird
Oh,
one.
geez, just looking at that. Oh yeah. Oh, I don't want to watch the rest of this. That's bad. All right,
Well,
I'm out.
it gets,
It's
Yeah,
like
it's done.
fade to
we don't know
black,
it gets better.
but worse graphics.
Yeah, it's like public broadcasting kids show kind of 3D graphics.
Ouch.
All right, Dave. What's your number one?
My number one I have here. Of course, there's only one game. I even have the big box. This is the Amiga version, not the PC version, but UFO Enemy Unknown. And
Which is
One thing-
ultimately is this what would ultimately become XCOM?
yep, it was
Yeah.
called XCOM some places. I have 2 sets of discs for this game, neither of which work.
Oh darn.
The best bit is, and this is why piracy was great back in the days. You see this manual. When you first load up the game, it tells you to go.
That's
to
a
page-
massive manual.
Oh yeah, it's like
Huge.
it's
Like a book.
128 pages, and when you first load up the game, it asks you to go to page like 73 and type in word 4 from paragraph 5 or something silly like
Mhm.
that. As
It's
an
also known
anti-piracy
as
method.
X. XCOM UFO Defense or XCOM Enemy Unknown.
This is the British version, Microprose, because
Yeah.
it's got all like British address on the back and all the rest
That's
of it.
awesome.
But I just love that game, and it was one of the games that made me, even though it was available on the, I actually played it on the PC first, and it just, I remember being sat in my dad's study and just hogging the PC and playing it for hours on end, listening to Queen, because I was really
Yeah,
into Queen.
That's awesome.
And so like certain music and certain like that game, listening to.
When's the last time you played that version of the game?
So I got it on around the pandemic. I think it was 99 cents or something stupid on Steam for the original, and then the like 2 other Microprose ones that came after that, like Enemy from the Deep, and then there's the 3rd one. I can't remember what it's called.
So you have them on Steam, so they run.
Yeah. So they do run, and I have this on my Amiga, and I have a cracked version that doesn't require me to type in a password. So I have versions of. It's, I want to say, on the Amiga or on PC, one of them has a bug where it's impossible to beat it because it just gets really difficult. But I remember beating it on the PC a couple of times because the last mission you go to Mars, which is where the alien base is, and essentially it's just a really long mission.
But you've played it
really
fairly
difficult.
recently.
Yeah, in the last probably 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, okay.
It looks like you can
was
get pretty much
COVID,
any
definitely.
edition you want of it on Internet Archive.
Yeah.
If you're missing discs, you can probably just download the game from Internet Archive.
Yeah, it's not so much I'm missing discs, it's just these discs actually don't work. They've gone bad. And I have 2 like I say, because I got 1 copy and it didn't come with the manual, so I bought another one that came with the manual, and I also knew that the discs didn't work anyway, so I was like, okay, maybe if I've got 2 sets of discs, I can use whichever, the chances of the same disc being broken in both sets.
Yeah,
and of course,
that
as
sucks.
soon as I got it, one set's 4 discs, one set's 5 discs. I don't even know how that works. But
So I do have a working knowledge of the current XCOM and how XCOM 1 and 2 for current consoles work. Is this how that game works, or is it way different?
no, it's very familiar. It's like isometric 3D. You have so many time units, so you can either move or you can shoot, or you can do what's the one where it's like you basically keep enough time units that if anyone moves in front of the guy, it's you can do a few other things. The weapons are very similar. I mean, XCOM's quite a faithful recreation of it in a lot of ways. So
the only reason you love this other version more is just from a nostalgia point?
yeah, pretty much. I would say XCOM's a very good remake of it. And, it fixes a few of the little, not bugs, but like annoyances. Because like one of the annoyances is you land your craft and it's isometric 3D. So you've got all your little troopers lined up in the craft. And then you have to go out the back door. Like that's how you start the mission. The trouble is because it puts the aliens randomly in positions on the map. If you get an alien that can see the back door of your plane, sometimes you put 2 or 3 people coming out the back and they all get shot one after the other, and it's like it can be really brutal like that because there's no way you can fight that, if you know what I mean, because you have to get off the plane to be able to shoot them, and so
Cool.
it can be a little cheap. And then the other problem it has sometimes is the aliens don't always come to you, if you know what I mean. So you'll have like a map and they'll be sat in the corner of the map.
Oh.
And so you have to kind of scan the whole map to find them. But fantastic game.
All right. Cool.
And I know I spoke a lot about it.
UFO.
before.
Hey, that's
also
all right.
XCOM.
That's great.
Yep.
So every time you hear Queen, do you want to play XCOM? And every time you play XCOM, do you want to hear Queen?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Aaron, what's your number 1 big box PC game?
I think I know which one this one is, and it's so back to the 90s. And it's kind of actually ties into the Mars thing. I'm gonna have to go with Doom 2 because that game got me into PC. Doom 1 was good, but I didn't ever beat it because I just didn't have the attention span to beat it.
Ultimate Doom.
Oh yeah, but then Doom 2 came out.
Final Doom.
Final Doom.
And for another 20 years. Then anyway, no, that game was probably my favorite out of the most PC games I ever played, just because it got me into the PC, and it was simple, really. I mean, yeah, you could keep going, but at least you're like, if I remember right, you could save at certain points after you beat a level, so you didn't feel like you were so rushed. Because I remember the old game where it was like you had to beat it in one sitting, and I did not have the attention span or the desire to sit down for that long in front of a computer screen. Plus, my mom worked from home, so I really couldn't really do it because she worked for Intel. So work revolved on the computer, but our computer is beastly enough to have one game on it, one big game, and it was Doom 2. And that game was fun. So I really enjoyed it and I actually beat that game. It took a bit, but
It's still fun. I have it on my
is.
PS4.
Yeah. No, it was a great game. I really enjoyed it. The obviously 90s graphics, it is what it is, but for its time, it was so cool, so fun. And then I wanted to try and play it again after I beat it. Parents deleted off my console, off the computer. I was like, Mom, Dad, what the hell? And they believed it was too satanic for me. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm shooting demons. What you bought it in the first place? Why'd you delete it? You knew this was what it was. Come on. Typical parent stuff. They want you to have it, and then, oh no, it's too violent. Bye bye. Like, guys, come on. Anyway, I love that game. My favorite game, easy to play. And by the way, all these games I played, I didn't have controllers or anything. I had to do old keyboard, mouse pad, all that stuff.
I think with PC and most of us, right? Didn't we most?
Yeah, I was only using keyboard.
Okay, because I know some people
On
have.
Doom,
for
I was
Rebel
only using
Alliance, I
keyboard.
use a joystick sometimes.
All my PC gaming, strictly keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, a
Okay,
lot of
'cause
keyboard and mouse for me.
Well, yeah, okay, because I know that some people, some people I knew also did they could actually get like special mouse so controllers for my dad's friend who built computers for a living actually introduced me to the remote control, the controller thing. You just plug in the side and it goes from there. But I didn't like it. It was just too foreign of a concept to be able to play controller style that on a computer. So I just started that. So I didn't know if it was like that. So I wanted to make that clear to anybody who thinks otherwise. So yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
Awesome. There you go. John, what's your
My number one is
your number. What is your What is your
What is my number one?
What is your number one?
What is my number one?
Can you give me number one?
My number one is Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Oh,
Oh, good choice.
Yeah.
I did think about that. I remember playing that in high school.
Did anybody ever play the very first Wolfenstein? It wasn't like the 3D game, was it?
I
I
played
played
it
it
on
briefly.
Why is this your number one choice? I feel like this game is just
I
garbage.
loved Return to Castle Wolfenstein or
I
Spear of
just
Destiny and all that stuff.
It was kind of like one of the first mature games I got. So, and I just remember being kind of like freaked out by the game. But then I persevered, and now I wish I could play the game again because I'd be curious to play the shooting mechanics because I remembered some of the levels were really large. Like when you go to the V2 rocket facility and then you see the paratroopers coming in and you can pick them off before they hit the ground, and then you get the paratrooper FG-42 rifle, which was pretty sweet. And then you had the Sten with the silencer. And I think just the whole the lore, I like the whole I thought they blended the supernatural with the World War II aesthetics really well. So I think it was just it was more the atmosphere of the game and kind of like the lore surrounding it that drew me in, and then they had solid shooting mechanics.
Had you and you had played the original Wolfenstein game, right?
No, I didn't know anything about Wolfenstein. It wasn't until years later I figured out what they meant by Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
I don't think
Yeah,
I've ever-
Wolfenstein came out in 1981, the original Castle Wolfenstein on like Apple II.
I don't think
the
I've
Commodore.
ever. Honestly, I don't think I've ever played the actual Return to Castle Wolfenstein. But
I think I played it briefly.
I think it's kind of they haven't.
It.
I think it's kind of hard to play because I don't think anyone's remastered it, and
Probably could do it on Internet Archive.
It's actually available on the Amiga Research operating system.
it's on, it's on PS2. I know it's on PS2. It's on Steam.
oh, they did a PS2 port. Okay.
It's on Steam.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually tried. I did try to play it on my dad's computer, but then I found out it was right after Steam stopped supporting Microsoft XP computers, and that's what my dad
Okay.
had.
So I never played Return to Castle Wolfenstein on that. But did you play? You played that on PC, not PS2. I was
Yeah, I
out of
played on
PC
PC.
games at that point.
I think I might have played it on the Xbox. That rings a bell because I remember playing one of the later Wolfenstein games on.
Yeah,
I
it was
think
on
with the-
original Xbox and PS2.
I think with the consoles, they may have gotten an extra weapon because there's, I think there was added content for the consoles and not for the PC versions. But yeah, that's my number one pick is Return to Castle Wolfenstein.
Boom! Killing Nazis. Dave's favorite pastime.
Yep.
Nazis.
I'm always up for a good bit of Nazi killing.
My
you know.
number one game, and okay.
Okay.
So I
That's
got
it.
it. I got it as a demo, and with my PC, and we used to play it all the time. Like my roommate and I, we would just play it all the time, and it wasn't so much to beat the demo. It was we would just beat each other's times. So there'd be this one thing where we would just play and get the best time. And that we became obsessed with. And then the game finally, I don't know, I feel like I got this computer in like late 98, 99. Late 98, early 99, I had this demo forever. And then the game finally launched like late 99 or early 2000. Anyway, so the demo we played for a year straight in this beat each other's time.
Wow.
And then I finally bought the game, and then, oh, hey, we can do all this other shit. And yet we still just did, with the main game, the same thing until I graduated and moved home. Anyway, I played so much of this game. It's Mobile One Rally. I don't know who the developer is. I could have looked. I'm sorry. Published by EA. It's one of in my opinion, one of my favorite rally games, and it's just gnarly.
Mobile One Rally Championship.
Yes, it's super fun. I have it on CD. I've played it. Anyway, you have to be a rally fan because it's very rally. It actually looks really great, handles really well, and then none of you guys are really that interested in racing games, but there's something about it that it screams to me, Dave, like Gambler, or it's just it's so fucked. It's just so crazy and off.
I remember playing Touring Car Championship on the PlayStation. It was the same kind of thing. It was just a lot of fun.
One of my favorite things, and
It was developed by Magnetic Fields out of
Magnetic
Britain.
Fields. Yes, it's very English.
Gosh, I love Magnetic Fields. They
Very
made
English.
one of my favorite games of all time, Supercars 2.
Okay.
But yeah, it was published by EA, and dude, I have this game, and whenever I can get it to run on DOSBox, I haven't got
Oh,
it to
yeah.
run lately because I haven't bothered. But on all previous PCs, I've always tried to get it to run because I love
Oh,
it
fun.
so much. It's like
It looks good.
such an awesome rally game. Anyway, that's my favorite game. I've played so much of it. I mean, just the fact that I played the demo for a year straight is yeah. Anyway, honorable mentions. We have honorable mentions.
So I have a couple. And one of the things that I remember probably about 97 buying a Voodoo 3DFX Voodoo card to get those lovely
Yeah,
3D
yeah.
textures going.
I had that too.
And I think it came with Carmageddon and G Police, and I just
Oh,
remember loving
Carmageddon.
both of those games. Like Carmageddon, because you were driving around, you could just run everyone over.
Oh yeah, that
And
game.
then
I think I played something like that. It's really fun.
G Police was like a flight simulator, but because you're in a helicopter and you're in these like domed cities on Saturn or somewhere, one of the outer planets, one of the moons, and you fly around and you kind of like blow the bad guys up and all the rest of it. You're like a helicopter gunship. But I remember that game just being fantastic. So those are two games I played. And then you've already mentioned Red Alert. I remember Counter-Strike was a big deal when I lived
Oh,
in
yes,
Baltimore and was in college. I just used to play that round and round. And then the last one, I'm surprised, Duke Nukem 3D. I just remember.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I played a little bit of it.
I didn't
I have a
include it on my
love-hate
list because I
relationship
never
with that
had the
game.
full game. I only had the shareware version with that first level.
I think
But I
Duke
played it at a
Nukem
friend's
3D
house.
right now. There's a PSN sale where it's like $1.99 or something.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I just remember that just being like, because it was one of the first games where like you could look up and down in the 3D, and just the voice samples and like all the stupid stuff was great.
Oh yes.
That looks really dirty. And maybe we need to clean that.
Yeah.
But
Put in the wash.
those are my honorable mentions, at least.
There you go.
My honorable mention would be Prince of Persia 3D, which is not a good game, but I just remember buying that game. I remember the big box for it, and I remember it was like $5 when I got it. And I played through it, and I was captivated by the art design. And I was young enough to think this game is kind of weird, but now that I'm older, I would just realize like, oh, this game is not well constructed. But I was still at an early enough age. I was just thinking this game's kind of weird to play, kind of off. But I didn't even think of a thing as bad game design.
Cool. Jared?
Any Sierra game that you can think of that was an adventure
nice.
game like Kingsfield and Police Quest, all that stuff. I played a lot of that stuff. I don't know if I ever finished any of the games because
That was the golden
most of
era,
that
wasn't it?
era of game was random crap combined with other random crap to connect with some other thing that makes no sense.
And you didn't
So-
have the internet to go and like cheat.
Yeah.
So unless you had a guide because remember
Yeah.
that like the games of this era, you could go and buy that like game guide that was like half
and they
inch
really
thick for
wanted you to.
$20. Yeah, and it would tell you everything about the game.
Yeah. Or
Aaron. Oh,
Leisure Suit Larry, Love for Sale.
Aaron, do you have any honorable mentions?
I do actually. So one game I remember that's really getting in the most good memories is Diablo 2. That game, I borrowed it from a friend for a very long time, and I remember playing that game as my favorite character was always the Necromancer. And I mean, a lot of people I knew played as either the Barbarian or the Wizard or other guys, but I always liked being the Necromancer. It's one of my favorite characters, and I think it was just one of those games I didn't think I was gonna like it as much because I mean it was a good game, but also I didn't know a lot of people who played it, so I thought, okay, maybe the reason people are playing it, it's not that good. I think the reason why people didn't talk about it as much is because they just didn't have the game and they were sucked into Warcraft
Or
or
they were just
Halo.
too busy playing the game to talk about it.
Well, when I started playing it, the big game was Halo, if I remember right, for the Xbox, and Counter-Strike. So Diablo kind of was like, even though it was a big game, all I hear about is Counter-Strike this, Halo that, and I'm over here just playing Diablo 2. But it was a fun little game, and a giant game, and that was probably one of my favorite games for the PC. And then there's also this little kids game, Jazz Jackrabbit, my dad got for me when I was a lot younger.
I
That was
some of that, yeah.
Yeah, my dad got it for me because it's kind of a shooter style. If I remember, it's a shooter game, but it's more for kids. So, it was a fun little game for toddlers, not toddlers, but kids. And then, of course, the pinball game for kids, the pinball games that we'd get from just because it was on there. Those are so much fun as time killers and stuff like that. There's little mentions, but mainly the two mentions are Jazz Jackrabbit and Diablo 2. I played some some Warcraft, but I couldn't get into that game, which is weird because same people made Diablo. But yeah,
Cool. Yeah, I have a few. So I'm gonna pick Driver.
PC.
I played that on the PlayStation 2, but yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I
that's why I
had that
saw
on my
it.
PC. We used to do the same thing with that game where we would play this one mode, which was evade the cops, and then however long you could evade the cops was the best score. And one of the days I was home from school, and I found that I could evade the cops and then get into a underground parking garage and just hide there. And then the cops would just run around, but never find me. So I ran up like a 20 some minute, evade. And I was just like, they're never going to figure out how to do this. Because anyway, because we would never tell each other what the times were. They would just see them when they loaded up the game.
right.
So, when they saw that, they were just like, I think someone said, I think I came home and said, fuck you on your score, dude. I'm not going to even bother with that. And I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But it was super easy. It was just evade the cops, get into the parking garage, hide. Anyway, it was super. But yeah, that game had a lot of fun with. There's a game called Slave Zero, which I have for Dreamcast now, too. It's a cyborg kind of mech game. Enjoyed that. And then so I've played various versions of Tomb Raider, but I actually bought Tomb Raider: The Last Revelations on PC for my computer, and I played through that and beat that. Enjoyed that quite a bit. I don't know if it's a great game or whatever, but I just remember thinking fondly about that game and I enjoyed it. So those are my 3 honorable mentions.
Dang.
Slave Zero is like a mech fighting adventure game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Huh.
All right.
That's decent enough.
All right. Let's move on to some couch co-optionals. Jerry, what you got?
I watched The Marvels on Disney Plus. It's on there now.
Ooh.
It's perfectly okay.
I liked it. It was fine.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
I wasn't doing it was a
good.
bad thing.
It's a good movie. It's
It
fun.
it definitely has its moments. It definitely has its
Yeah.
funny moments.
It does.
Yeah.
It's not a bad movie. It's
No.
a good
Yeah.
movie.
It's fine.
It's good. Yeah. Watch it.
Dave, what do you have?
I'm reading a book called
What? A book?
The
What
Secret World, A History of Intelligence. And it's really interesting.
Tell us more about what a book is.
It's this thing, it's paper, and it's got
Imagine
words
my
on
legs
it.
kicking
And
behind me right
the
now.
words express ideas. And
Is it
then-
on Kindle?
It may be on Kindle. I don't know, but this
Probably
one,
is. If
this
it's
is
a book, it's on Kindle.
it's all about like it starts with basically with the Bible and the earliest recorded history, and it's all about espionage and like spies and informers and assassins and stuff throughout the ages. So I've just got past the Roman Empire. So I'm not.
Is it fiction or non-fiction?
It's non-fiction. It's like a history of spycraft essentially.
Okay, interesting.
So it's quite an interesting book.
Cool. All right. Aaron, what you got?
Oh, gosh. I've been kind of, I've actually been trying to get back into some 80s like music. And my father-in-law he got a record. We got him a record player for Christmas, and we went over to their house a week or so ago, and I listened to some old Elton John stuff like that. And I've been kind of on a 70s, 80s like music kick, and I've been kind of going through. Let's see, I've done some. Oh gosh, I want to say what I've been really kind of listening to though, more than any of it isn't. I think technically Rolling Stones is 60s, but
it's all those time periods.
Yeah, Rolling Stones. Yeah,
60s, 70s, 80s. It's all of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been kind of really on a Rolling Stones, Elton John, kind of a weird little mishmash kick of that stuff, and I'm looking to find some more new stuff if anybody wants to help out with that, because it's nice to just chilling and listen to some music instead of just either not reading, but watching TV or watching movies or whatever. Don't get me wrong, that's good stuff, but sometimes it's nice just to sit back, pour yourself a beer, listen to some good music,
I like Neil Young.
I like Alan Parsons Project.
Oh yeah, Alan Parsons.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with a bit of Mr. Parsons' work.
And it's funny because after that record player, I kind of want to get my own record player. Finding one.
Everyone should have their own record player.
I agree. My wife does too. We're talking about that. We might get that eventually when we can afford it. I mean, they're not expensive, but just finding a solid one that's not going to be.
I was really lucky. I think I paid $14 for mine from Goodwill. It's
Nice.
a JVC, and it just needed like taking apart and the pieces oiling and lubricating because it was 30, 40 years old or whatever.
Right.
Nice.
I really, Dave, when we were at that fucking record store the last time when we were out, everybody like that one, the slotted one that was like $200.
I know.
Part of me is like, wish I had that.
I know.
$200 though.
It's like a CD player. You put the record in,
but you put it in
interesting.
slotted sideways, like up and down. It stands up like a PlayStation, and you put the record in,
and it looks at the tracks on there
with a laser,
beam,
so it treats it like a CD.
Wow.
It's
so
fucking
you
gnarly.
can skip the tracks, on the record. It's kind of
That's some Sony,
one of a kind.
Yeah.
some Sony bullshit right there.
Huh.
All right, John, what do you have for the couch co-optional?
I highly recommend listening to Club Shay Shay, which is Shannon Sharp's podcast. He's a ex-NFL turn sports broadcaster. But the two recent episodes he's done is with Cat Williams and Monique. Both of them are separate. So Cat Williams by himself, Monique by herself. But they talk about the entertainment business, and it's really fascinating, really empowering stuff to hear how they developed their business sense and navigated the perils of their business. Monique was especially really interesting listening to her talk about how she handles her business, and Cat Williams was really fascinating as well. So I highly recommend listening to Club Shay Shay. Cool. That's the name of his podcast.
All right.
Okay.
And my recommendation is, someone truly empowering, Taylor Swift. She's just, she knows how to lock it down.
Oh, white women. Woo!
She's, for a female, just like toppling over the male propaganda and like the young sons of John here who like are trying to like, racism
Man,
and
I
bigotry
love
and just like
supporting
trying to
white
like
people.
just
White
like push
people all the
people
way.
over and like just like she is just she's just owning
She's
it
crushing
and
it.
winning and crushing, and she's like empowering young women and
She literally moves
all the
economies
white-
anywhere
young
she goes.
white women she's empowering.
Yeah, all the young women, white women, she's empowering. I mean, you could say white women. That's just a really racist thing. She's empowering all women.
Oh yeah, no,
Mhm.
absolutely
Yeah,
empowering
right.
women
I
everywhere.
mean,
Yeah, all the women that
I
look
mean-
just like her.
yeah, no, I mean,
Oh, God.
I
All I'm
don't-
gonna say
well,
is she's
John's such a racist now.
she's moving it. I'm just saying, like anywhere she goes.
Yeah, I'm not
literally,
as big of
anything
a
she
fan of
says just-
white people like I used to be.
Well, you better start painting your skin then, brother. I don't know.
That's problematic on its own.
No, I respect.
No shit.
No.
So you're
I honestly-
you need to.
I honestly
Anyway,
respect
I
her,
think
so on a side note.
I think the feminist problem is a bigger problem. Having a woman just dictate what she wants, the fact that she could just say, "Hey, I want to win the Super Bowl," and she won it.
That's
doesn't
right. That's right.
you don't even need two teams
Yeah,
to
yeah,
play
the
a
Super
game.
Bowl.
She could just say, "Hey,
Just
I
before
want to win."
the
want
election
win.
yet.
But I think it's fascinating on the alternate that like at the Grammys this year, mostly it was like majority women all won.
Mhm.
Very very cool, very awesome. I mean, John can talk shit all he wants about a white woman, but if you look at everything,
There's a lot of
but like the fact that white men have dominated for so long,
this is true.
and that yes, I apologize that a white woman is now dominating, but it shows that things are actually changing. Like
They are 100%.
white men are not the cool thing, and I don't know. I don't really look at things like this anymore. I get there's a thing that you have to look at a certain way. I just find the whole Taylor Swift thing very exciting and funny, and when it's something that pisses people off, well, yeah, I enjoy that. I enjoy pissing people off. So if John's pissed off about it, yeah, I like it. So
Well, the thing I
Tay-Tay, baby. Tay-Tay.
Well, the thing I respect about every
I'm
woman
a
now,
bigger fan of Monique than I am of Taylor Swift.
Which
I'll put it that
which
way.
Monique? There's so many Moniques. What Monique?
MO'Nique.
Yeah, but
That
there's
Monique.
like 20 of those. Which one?
No, she's just known as Monique. That's her stage name.
No, but there's a lot of Monique. There's literally 100 Moniques with that
That's-
same.
she-
No,
she's like
100%.
She's
100%. Just Google that,
So
and you will
she-
find
I think I know
100
who-
people in the same with that same apostrophe eek.
I think
you
he's
are-
talking about.
He's
he's
being silly. He's
yes.
he's being silly. How many Asian singers? How many Pacific Islander singers, John? How many Indian singers?
I don't follow those.
Yeah, exactly. So stop fucking throwing your shit at me, dude. Stop racism.
I'm just expressing my opinion, Ian.
Stop racism.
If you wanna support white women, go ahead.
Well,
That's all I'm saying.
I'm supporting a hot white.
He's
Single,
supporting Tay-Tay.
Yeah, I'm supporting Tay-Tay. But you're.
If you want to support the popular opinion, go ahead.
That's not the popular
The
opinion.
mainstream, go ahead.
You know how much of the popular opinion is against her because she's female?
Yep, because
Ultimately, like she's
even the NFL
I think
fan base is like,
ultimately
"What the fuck?"
she's like the big. I think more people vote against her because she's a woman.
Are you
I think she
Tay-Tay
can
for
take-
president?
I think she can take that billion to the bank with her.
Sure,
So,
because
there's no doubt
she.
you want to talk about opposition?
Sure, because
sign
she's.
me up for that opposition, baby.
I 100% agree that she could because there's so many people that have against her. But I think she's done everything on her own, and I think it's brilliant. So
Yes, I yeah.
fuck Jay-Z and fuck Beyonce. They were never
Oh,
that.
no.
They were never that good to begin with. All right.
Oh man, no, Beyonce. I love Beyonce. Love me some Queen Bee.
When was Beyonce ever that good?
She's been that good ever since she left Destiny's Child. I mean, come on now. Her career took off after. I'm not saying she's Taylor Swift status. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
And she's got her bitch boy up there like defending her. Nah, that's some fucking.
No, fuck,
that's some fucking
fuck
JPK
Kanye.
shit right now. Like he's
Fuck
like out here
Kanye.
like.
Well, unfortunately, Jay-Z has cheated on her multiple times, allegedly, and she stayed with him, which
Take some
I
balls.
wouldn't
I'm
do.
just saying.
But that's her choice.
Anyway, Tay-Tay.
And I don't care.
Tay-Tay. I
I'm
don't
not-
care
I'm not a
either.
Swift
I don't care either.
About any
I
of
just,
this.
I don't really care about celebrities.
I'm just
I'm not Swift
Tay-Taying
either.
it all up
No.
just to piss off John. So that's
Well,
the
you're doing
couch-
a terrible job.
Well, I'm doing a pretty good job because you're pretty riled up right now.
I think we should have had the. After the Super Bowl today, I was disappointed I didn't do the Tay-Tay drinking game. Every time you
Right?
saw Tay-Tay, it's
Right?
like take a drink.
Right?
Oh,
I wouldn't have shown
All
up
right,
for
all
this podcast.
right,
You've been
all right,
sloshed.
all right. Let's stop dogpiling on John. He's feeling. Yeah.
This has been.
This is bad.
He looks very emotional.
He looks
That's fine.
emotional. This is the most emotional
Yeah.
he's ever been. Like he's
Did you wanna
usually
do,
he's
some
usually
trivia this
asleep
time?
and ready to go to bed at this point, but he's awake right now. Like his eyes are
Oh
bright.
man,
I'm
his eyes are
awoke.
wide
He's
open.
awoke.
awoke.
He's awoke.
He's awoke.
Yeah, well, I wonder why that is. Anyway, let's see here.
Anyway.
I want to thank you all for listening. Oh wait, no, we need trivia, Jared.
No, we might as well just can this segment. You always
No,
skip it anyway.
I skip it anyway, but I just remembered, so you got to give it to me.
Yeah, this is the first time he's remembered. Come on. You can't
Yeah,
just, like,
only
jam it
because
down
I
your throat.
mentioned it and then he forgot about it.
You
And then
didn't
he
mention. When did he
remembered
mention it? Did he mention it, guys?
No.
I did.
When did
I
he
interrupted you.
mention- When?
I interrupted
I
you.
mentioned it at the top
moments
of the show.
ago. Moments ago.
I don't think so. Dave, did he say anything? I don't remember him saying anything.
I don't know. I got mine like a sieve. Anyway, let's do some trivia.
Yeah, it's all good.
Hey.
Well, it's based around a game I mentioned earlier. What was Dragon Quest called when it was first released in the United States?
Tay-Tay?
Nope, nobody knows.
Was
No,
it Zork?
I've
Zork.
mentioned it multiple times on the show over
Yeah.
the years. Dragon Warrior.
Dragon Warrior.
Oh,
Do you
I
know?
never guessed
Well,
that.
so you guys probably wouldn't know the first game in the USA that was called Dragon Quest. Then that was Dragon Quest 7 in 2003. And originally, they put it as Dragon Warrior in the US because there was a pen and paper tabletop game that had Dragon Quest as a name. So they didn't want to
Dungeons and
infringe on the
Dragons?
copyright.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that I didn't know why it was called that. So I just looked that up. I thought that was interesting. That tabletop game. Never heard of that one.
is it a Dungeons and Dragons affiliated game?
I doubt it, but it's pen and
Okay.
paper, so it's a role-playing
Wait,
game such
Probably
as
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons game, or Vampire the Masquerade, or
Okay.
that kind of stuff.
Oh, damn.
That's the first I've heard of that.
Yeah, so that's why.
Okay. There we go.
That's the trivia segment. Ian, you can
Aaron
close.
took the words right out of my mouth. It's the first I heard of it, and okay.
I mean, I respect the pen paper game. I just never heard of that one until literally just now.
I've never played pen and paper. Not my
Did
bag.
a little bit of Vampire the Masquerade, but not much.
All right.
Tried D&D a long time ago, but not much.
All right. Well, let's get out of here,
Yes.
and we'll talk about all of this. Well, we have 4 people in the chat, and yet no one's talking. What's going
It
on?
looks like we have,
Well, I
looks like
bet.
we have 2 extra
Oh,
people
no.
up in the corner, but they're little flops.
I want to thank you all for listening and remind you to leave feedback at the Couch Co-op Show at gmail.com or find us on our socials at Couch Co-op, Couch Coop Shows, all one word, no hyphen, is what I should say. I want to thank Jared, Dave, Aaron, and John for joining me here on the couch. For Couch Co-op, I'm Ian, reminding you to please be excellent to each other.
Wild Stallions.
Couch Co-op is full of douchebags.
something involving sexual torture a little bit.
Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op is full of douchebags.
I thought JPK was gonna say something like that.